Hi, my name is Brian Holinka, Senior Designer on Homefront, and you're watching Platform 32.
When Platform 32 were invited to a preview event for the multiplayer portion of upcoming commie-bombing first-person shooter Homefront, we leapt at the chance to attend. While we were there, we managed to grab Brian Holinka, the game's senior designer, for an exclusive interview.
Homefront is a large-scale warfare game that encompasses everything from soldiers to tanks and Humvees to attack helicopters like the Apache, but we also have like really cool futuristic tech like little recon drones, helicopter drones, and treaded drones that you can send out to fight. So it has a bunch of little tools, but you go out and you fight in 32-player matches supported by dedicated servers on the PC, PS3, and Xbox 360.
One of the biggest multiplayer features we noticed during our playtime was the inclusion of an innovative new battle point system. Please explain.
Battle point system is something we developed in multiplayer to help incentivize players to play as a team. Basically what happens is when you do things like kill enemies or capture objectives or defend those objectives, you're given points, battle points that you earn. You can then spend those points in a couple different ways. You can either, right during the battle, you can use the D-pad to purchase airstrikes, purchase drones you can deploy, or rocket launchers or missile launchers. Or when you're spawning, you can decide, hey, instead of spawning as infantry this time, I have enough money, I want to purchase a tank, or I want to purchase an attack helicopter. At which point, you buy that helicopter, you fly into the game world, and then you go straight into the action with the helicopter you just earned and bought.
Big vehicles with guns on rule, but what other items can you buy with battle points?
Every time you spawn, you choose a loadout. It's a customizable loadout that you pick, and you choose different special weapons that you want to be able to purchase in real time. So when you're running around, you can use the D-pad to say, select a lock-on missile launcher to use against helicopters, or select a Hellfire airstrike from a UCAV that you guide down on unsuspecting targets. Or you can purchase one of our drones, like the recon drone. It's a small little helicopter drone. You send it out, and then all your enemies are marked. And then if you target them individually, you can mark them for your teammates as well. So it's a really great way for you to kind of safely help your teammates without necessarily having to kill anyone.
So these battle points sound a lot like the XP rewards you get in other games. Can you save up battle points to spend later, or do they get reset at the end of every match?
Battle points are not like XP. They're not persistent between different matches. You basically start off with every match with only a handful of battle points, and then as you earn, you need to spend them, because if you don't at the end of the round, anything you haven't spent is lost.
I love the way you can buy equipment on the fly using battle points. There was this awesome moment while I was playing where I was trapped in an old barn by a huge tank. Using my battle points, I bought a rocket launcher and blew it sky high. Then I did a fat legger back to the safety of my teammates. The game seems very centered around team play. Will this game also be accessible for lone wolf run and gun style gamers?
We definitely support like a lot of team play and team oriented type behavior. And one of the things with battle points is kind of trying to make people do the team play objectives. But at the same time, you know, if you're a solo player, there's a lot of opportunities for you to do that. You just kind of go out and play it very similar to hopping in the game, and you know, it's very clear to you what you gotta do. Your allies will see you. It's pretty simple to do either one.
Customization is a massive feature in games nowadays. Can you tell us a little about the customization aspects of Homefront?
We actually have a ton of customization. Like I was saying, every time you spawn, you select a loadout, and that loadout is made up of a primary weapon, which could be an assault rifle, could be an assault rifle, a submachine gun, a sniper rifle, but also you select a secondary explosive, so something like an EMP grenade that disrupts the vehicle's activities, or C4. But also we have what are called an ability system. We have infantry abilities that kind of you select, and to support your playstyle, they modify a number of different attributes in the game, like weapon damage or the duration of an EMP on your vehicle. But then we also have the same for vehicles, so you can, for each vehicle type that we have, you can kind of choose custom upgrades. So we have a lot of flexibility, a lot of customizability, and those are the types of things that you unlock as you go through the game earning levels. You unlock all kinds of different stuff.
Having worked on the game as senior multiplayer designer since the start of the project, what's your favourite thing about Homefront? Which part still makes you go, wow?
My favorite thing in the game right now really is our main battle tanks, our Abrams. They're really, it's a fun experience to kind of roll into the middle of a bunch of infantry fighting it out. and just unloading on them with that cannon. You just basically point and click, and when you fire the cannon, you get this loud, like rushing boom, tons of smoke. The whole ground shakes, and then when you hit the guy, you actually see him kind of go exploding and ragdolling up in the air. So it's really kind of this really fulfilling this big gun fantasy. It's really cool.
The modern warfare genre is already getting crowded. What sets Homefront apart from the rest?
There's a lot of things familiar about Homefront that'll make you feel comfortable in the game, but there are a lot of things different in Homefront that make you feel like you're playing a new game. It's a new experience. So we looked at the things that you need to do well in order for players who are really familiar with some of the most popular first-person shooters out there to just grab the controller and feel comfortable. They don't have to be clumsy. They don't have to be learning new controls. They can sit down and they can play. But at the same time, the game plays different because of our game mode, ground control, and the battle point system. Things happen differently. The way you play the game happens differently.
The battle point system works well and creates that extra incentive to work harder and as part of a team. Serve your country well and you get rewarded. Plus, by the end of the match, when everyone has loads of battle points to spend, it becomes a frenzy of tanks, helicopters and drones. That's when it really gets exciting. Utter chaos! But when can we get our hands on it? Over to you, Brian.
The game will be released early Q1 of 2011.
I'm Matt Swider with Gaming Target. We're on the road this week in San Francisco, and we're checking out the multiplayer of Homefront. And we're here with
Erin Daly. I'm a lead designer on Homefront multiplayer game.
So Homefront has a really cool theme, there's a little bit of realism. Can you tell us about the theme and the story?
Sure, so Homefront multiplayer takes place during this period we call the Occupation Wars. This is about 20 years in the future, and America is being invaded by North Korea after this deadly EMP attack and cyber attack that's kind of scattered the American forces, but they're still fighting back with a lot of weaponry and equipment that they still have.
Can you tell us about the battle point system?
Sure, so one of the things we tried to do with Homefront multiplayer is create some interesting strategic choices that players can make on the fly. So we created the system we call battle points, and what it is it's an in-game economy. So every time you do an action that helps you or helps your team, you're earning battle points. So you kill an enemy, you earn battle points. You capture an objective, you earn battle points. You mark an enemy with your recon drone, you earn battle points. And then you can use those points in-game and spend them on cool toys and stuff to help you win the game. So for example, you can spend them on drones, you can purchase rocket launchers, you can purchase additional ammunition or grenades, and then you can even purchase vehicles in our game because it is a large-scale vehicular game.
We checked out 2 maps today. Can you tell us the names of those 2 maps and what they're all about?
Sure, so today we're showing 2 multiplayer maps. The first one's called Cul-de-sac. It's kind of a smaller, tight infantry-based game, and it takes place in the American suburbs. So you get to see what the ruin of the suburbs has become in this near-future kind of post-apocalyptic type environment. The other map we're showing is called Farm, and it takes place in kind of this rural, idyllic farmland, and kind of showcases some of our larger scale gameplay. You've got vehicles on the map, aircraft, tanks, all the kind of stuff we use to try and create these large scale epic battles.
Over time during the battles, we noticed that the objectives shift and actually the map shifts as well. Can you tell us about that?
Sure, so we designed this game mode we call ground control, and what it does is offers some really interesting variety in strategy to how the map plays out. So what happens is you're trying to capture 3 objectives, but then when your team earns enough score, those objectives will move to a new area of the map. So what you get is this really interesting pacing and variety of the play space. So you might be fighting in this kind of open area in the middle. It's more of kind of an assault rifle, sniper kind of gameplay. And then when these objectives move, now you're fighting kind of an industrial farm section, and it's more kind of warehouses and silos and kind of that tight infantry SMG kind of gameplay.
Can you talk about the 2 sides and how they're different? Is it just cosmetics?
So we tried to give players a lot of different choice in the game, but we found that if we try to differentiate the teams and create different choices, players will have a faction preference, and that would introduce some definite issues in terms of the balancing and the matchmaking. So what we did was we allowed players to customize their loadouts using all the different weaponry in the game, no matter what side you're on. So you can create a different customization and have access to all the different vehicles, no matter what side you're playing on.
This game is unique because instead of fighting somewhere else, you're fighting in America. Can you tell us about the locations you visit?
Sure, so in multiplayer, we really wanted to kind of explore this idea of what it's like to fight in your hometown, what it's like to fight in a place that you shopped, right? So we've got, battles that take place in strip malls, we've got battles that take place in highways and farmland, in, suburban American homes, right? So we want to kind of bring this large-scale conflict to these spaces that you know and you're used to, and think about how would these spaces change if there were a big battle going on. And that offers some really interesting strategic options, and also it just feels cool to fight in, a suburban backyard around a swing set and things you grew up with.
Okay, how long until you're done the game, and is there going to be a beta, which everybody wants to know about?
So Homefront will be released in Q1 of 2011 on the Xbox 360, PS3, and PC. As for a beta, we're definitely exploring that option. It's something we really would like to do, but we're not making any announcements at this time.
All right, great. Erin, thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
All right, stay tuned for more on Gaming Target.
Enemy